Welcome back to Jeff Rendall Live. Now, as we were hearing earlier, the Department of Transport's handling of the bidding process for the £5 billion West Coast mainline rail franchise has been slammed by an independent report. The findings were published just hours after it was announced that Virgin Trains, which lost the contract in August, will now run the service for another 23 months. We can go now over to the founder of Virgin Group, Sir Richard Branson, who joins us live from New York. Sir Richard, nice to see you. Many thanks for joining us. Sir Richard, I owe you an apology, and I'm happy to make it on air. When we last spoke on Sky, after you'd lost the franchise, I accused you of being a bad loser and a vexatious litigant. Well, it appears you were right all along. The bidding system was horribly flawed.
Well, first of all, thank you very much for the apology. Much appreciated. I must admit, after we got off that last interview, I was anyway. Well, I can't remember what I was thinking. But anyway, I appreciate the apology. Anyway, now we just want to move on and spend the next 2 years trying to continue to improve the service and get ready for a new bid process, which hopefully will be a fair, open and transparent process. And if so, we will join in once again.
I think what you were thinking, Sir Richard, was that you wouldn't be doing another interview with me, but here you are, so that's very good. Now, do you have any confidence in the Department of Transport now? Because you're talking about moving on, but there's another very serious and very expensive bidding process coming up.
I think I've met the new Minister of Transport. I trust him, he's been, he took it on the chin when he realised that ghastly errors had been made. It was he that asked for this, very in-depth report that was published today, he promises that he will get it right, and he'll listen to the whole industry. He'll consult independent organisations, and I'm sure that he'll come up with a process that will be one that Virgin and others can feel that if we lose next time, we can bow out gracefully and move on to other things. If we win, hopefully our competitors will realise it was a fair process.
Sir Richard, given that these processes are complex, they're very expensive, can you just explain to our viewers what it was that the Department of Transport did that was so wrong and so hopelessly inept?
Well, look, I've been in New York on other things today, so I haven't read the very long report that was published today. But at the time, without having much information, on the back of an envelope, we did some calculations, and it looked like something was horribly wrong, which is why we decided to test it in the courts. And as it turned out, we realised that the fact that First Choice had put all their money into the last 2 years, there'd been no inflation taken into account. Quite a lot of other technicalities that had been overlooked, and in fact, I believe that Virgin actually should have won that particular bid, but in the end it was decided let's start again. But but I think tomorrow the press will have read the report in detail, and people will be able to see in much more detail some of the things that went wrong.
Now, I read in a little trade magazine, Rail Business Intelligence no less, that you will be giving the profits from the extension of the franchise to a charity. Is that right? Will you keep that promise? And if so, which charity?
We will be giving any monies we make over the next 20 months, whatever it is, to good causes and to charities. We actually have been doing something not that dissimilar for some time, in that we pledged at the Clinton Initiative to invest any monies we made from our dirtier businesses into trying to develop clean fuels for the future of aviation, for trains, for cars, and have spent an enormous amount of money trying to achieve that, and we will continue to achieve that, with the aim of coming up with fuels that do not emit any carbon and can power our trains and planes in the future.
While I've got you here, I'd like to ask a final question about another aspect of your business, aviation. Earlier this week, Willie Walsh, the boss of BA, said that he believed a third runway will never be built at Heathrow. Do you share that view?
I think it's a defeatist approach by Willie Walsh, or maybe, maybe he's rather hopeful that it isn't, because it's quite convenient for British Airways, having now got the British Midlands slots, to completely monopolise Heathrow, which they do. In Australia, where there are enough runways and enough slots for Virgin to operate, we've got 35% of the market against Qantas, and we got that over the last 10 years. In Britain, where we can't get slots out of Heathrow, and we can't we can't compete on enormous quantities of routes, we've only managed to get 3% of the slots, and yet we've been going for nearly 30 years. So so I think from Great Britain Limited's point of view, and from a competition point of view, we need more capacity in Britain urgently. We haven't had a new runway at Heathrow since 1948. And it's desperately needed. And I think that the idea of having a new airport in the Docklands, it may be a good idea, but it's going to take it's going to take decades.
So Richard,
to build.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but we've run out of time. I appreciate you coming back on the show. Many thanks.
Thank you. Cheers.
Well, later in this programme, we'll look at the allegations